Okay, so this is a problem-based project, which means that you're going to be picking a project. You've already picked your specific problem, right? And so let me dive right into it. Your learning target for this project is I can examine, evaluate, question, and ethically use information from a variety of sources and media to investigate how plastic affects the environment and living organisms on Earth. So what that means is that you're going to be examine means to look closely. So you're going to be looking closely at information that's on the internet. You're going to be evaluating and questioning whether it's right or wrong, because sometimes there's information on the internet that's not true. So that's why you want to compare it to other sources to make sure that what you're finding is really true. And then ethically using information means that you're going to be citing your sources, because it's not ethical, it's not right to not cite your sources, because it's saying that you did it all yourself. And you have to credit the websites that you got your information from. And then it says from a variety of sources and media. So that just means that you're going to be looking at a lot of different things. You're going to be looking at different articles, different videos, different graphs, charts, all different types of things in order to investigate how plastic affects both the environment and living things. Okay, your scenario for this project is that, and the panel that's going to be watching your presentations are scientists and engineers in Craig, and they're going to be aware of this scenario. They're going to know that you're playing the role of working with Environmental Protection Agency. The Environmental Protection Agency is a government-funded group that is like all over the United States. And so you're going to play the role of working for them, and you've been hired to solve global plastic problems. And that's why you've picked one specific one to focus on. Your job is to inform City Council on why it's an issue, and then you're going to propose a solution to fix it. Now, clearly, we don't have the resources to actually do these like large global scale solutions. We're not going to truly be able to practice them, but you're going to do it as if you do work for EPA. The government's hiring you to fix this plastic problem. What would you do? What would your solution be? So I'm going to give you an example. It's going to be one that's not realistic, but just so I can use it for the explanation. So let's say you're doing ocean or garbage in the ocean, and your solution is to get a giant fan and blow all the ocean into outer space. Okay. Now that's not a realistic solution, so it's not going to work for your project, but I'm going to use it just to explain an example. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is go over your problem. You're going to make sure that your audience knows all about your problem. You're going to talk about like what areas of the world are affected. You can screenshot Google Earth. You can find maps online to show like where is this happening. Include facts and statistics about the problem. A fact is something that's true. A statistic is something that researchers work to gather. Like, for example, these statistics aren't true, they're just examples. Have you heard things like 1 in 3 students will eat a sandwich today? Or like 1 in 5 people get cancer. Like you've heard those types of things. Or like 20,000 plastic bags. No, like I said, these aren't true. But I'm just saying, like 20,000 plastic bags are used every 5 seconds. That is a statistic. Statistics are things like 20,000 accidents happen. Have you seen when you guys are driving like to Denver? You've seen like the thing on it's like 20,000 motorcycle deaths this year. Have you guys seen that before? Anyways, that's a statistic. Like it's to bring awareness to a problem. So you guys are going to use that. And then you're going to explain why should people care about your problem and what are the effects. So who or what is affected by this problem? After you go into the problem, this is what your presentation is going to look like. After you explain the problem, you're then going to explain your solution. Now your solution you need to go through. So if I am saying giant fans to shoot trash into space, I'm going to talk about the financial information. So how much would that cost? You're going to say, I've looked up what this would cost, and it would be a multi-million-dollar project. Or maybe you say, actually, I've come up with a pretty cheap solution. Maybe. So you're going to talk about how much it would cost, the technical details, like what would need to be done. Helicopters would need to lift up these giant fans, and then the helicopters would pull them out and put them into the ocean. professional scuba divers would, make sure they're anchored, whatever the solution is. You got to think about the technical details of your solution. What is the impact on the environment and biodiversity? This would be a great time to talk about food webs. So if you're talking about a seagull or a seabird, that it's good to use specific examples. In Australia, on August 10th, 2016, a seagull was found with this tire inside of its intestines. I'm just making this up too. I make things up sometimes. And you would show the picture and you would say, this happened. And the problem with this is that look at a seagull's food web. A food web shows all of the different feeding relationships in an ecosystem. So you would say like, look, this seagull is eaten by this and a seagull eats these. And so the problem is if we're losing all of our seagulls due to plastic pollution, then all of these insects are going to overpopulate because nothing's eating them. And then all of these predators are going to starve because there's nothing to feed them. And then why should we care? Because we rely on these food webs to feed ourselves as well. So you could talk about that in your slide. Talk about food webs and why it matters. Negative impacts, why it's reasonable. Now here's the fun part, the visual displays. The visual displays, like I said, could be a picture, a graph, a food web. It could be, I'm doing a screencast, so I can't. Okay, it could be like a prototype. So if you want to build like a diorama or a prototype is like a small scale version of your solution. So if building something or building a diorama or a model or something to show your panel is going to help them understand, you can do that. Okay, the last part is just to do your engaging hook where you use an iMovie. You'll start with an iMovie, a really short one, just to hook your audience. You want them to be entertained during your presentation. So in order to be entertained, what you don't want is a bunch of words on your slide. You want only pictures and phrases, like short, either one word, no words, one sentence, and a picture. What you'll do is see where it says click to add speaker notes? That is where you type what you want to say. So everything you want to say, you're going to type here, but what you want to show goes in your slide. So you might have just a picture of this seagull, but then you're going to put here what you want to say. You can actually view your speaker notes during your presentation, so that way they'll be there and you know what to talk about. Practice, practice, practice. Your presentation's only going to be 2 to 3 minutes long. This means you need to practice and time yourself. 2 to 3 minutes is actually a long time. I bet you when I'm done with this, we'll find it was like 4, I don't know how long. We'll see how long this screencast is, but 2 to 3 minutes is longer than you think. And it's enough time to share your problem and your solution in a really clean, like straightforward way. Okay, I'm going to end this now. Somehow.